I've been doing for 7 years. We go at Craig's. I rotate 12 different guys every week on Thursdays. And Albert will come and, you know, like, and I would have to sit next to him and sound like, bro, what the did you say in this podcast? You know, you got to stop sometimes, you know. I've been driving a Rolls Royce since, you know, like something like that. I'm like, bro, come on, dude. It's so crazy.
It's so funny.
I know.
Welcome to another episode of Coffeez.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I haven't had coffee in 10 years, but since I'm a closer, I guess I have to, right?
Today's a big day,
Here we
man.
go.
You know, 10 years deep, and you broke the fast.
Let's see what happens to me.
Hopefully it doesn't mess you up, man. You're a health nut, so hopefully it doesn't throw you off.
Yeah.
You want to give the audience like just a quick overview of who is Ted Dhanik?
Sure. So I started my career in the mid-'90s in Silicon Valley. I grew up in the Bay Area. And I worked for a lot of dot-com companies back in the dot-com boom, and some of them did well, some of them did not. That brought me to LA, a company called Lower My Bills. I was one of the original guys there. Ended up selling, we sold that company to Experian. So I know the mortgage business pretty well, and credit repair as well. And shortly after that, joined Myspace at its beginning, and we sold that in 2005, and I stayed on till 2008, and the earnouts ended. I was tasked with solving a problem for Myspace, which was Myspace had 7 billion ads per day. They were going under monetized, and I needed to build a technology to help them monetize better. So I left, and in 2009, I started a digital ad company called Engage BDR, which is essentially tasked with solving a yield problem. So lots of ad companies or websites back then had lots of traffic, but they weren't monetizing it well. They had these rev share deals. They couldn't they couldn't understand the value of those rev share deals in real time. So they were basically cannibalizing their own revenue. So I built a management system, supply side platform to help digitize all the yield. And I did pretty well. Myspace was our first client, and we were profitable since the first month. We raised no money, no debt, no equity. Did hundreds of millions in revenue, and in 2017 took it public on an IPO, raised about $80 million while we were public, and then merged it into another company, sold it, and then left about 3 years ago. During that process, we came up with an idea it's pretty interesting, to figure out how to digitize lottery tickets in California. Like, you know, you couldn't buy a lottery ticket online. It was really weird, right? So came up with this concept called Lotto Gopher, where we had relationships with liquor stores everywhere. Because gaming laws in California, gaming was sold to the Native Americans, online gaming. You couldn't do online gaming in any capacity in California because the Native Americans owned that, so it was illegal. So you literally had to do a gopher model. It's kind of like Postmates for lottery tickets. You put, you know, your information, you know, as far as like what kind of lottery ticket you want, or you could be a part of a pool or something. And then the bet slips would be printed at the liquor store and popped into the machine. That was the workaround for digitizing lottery tickets online. Anyways, we took that company public and then sold it within a couple years. So, and then now it's like, I don't know what happened. Somebody bought it, and somebody's still around. But yeah, it's a really interesting space. So we did that, and then now currently, over the past 3 years, I've been focused on. I have a short-term rental business. We have about 50 properties in LA. And additionally, I have a credit repair agency for 20 years. So that credit repair agency is thriving currently under, you know, unfortunately under the current economy and all the stuff going on with everyone. There's a lot of pain out there. We're helping people turn their lives around. So it's still an exciting space 20 years later.
Wow. So how many companies active right now?
2.
2 companies active. What's your favorite one?
You know, after doing all the stuff, you know, it's like work is kind of like, you know, there's passion, you know, and I think that, do we have the burning desire at this moment right now? I think there are some problems that need to be solved out there, but, you know, I think the credit repair business is pretty exciting because we get to really have a pulse on, you know, personal finance and the finance, everything that's happening in the world. Conversation you and I had about, hey, how's mortgage business impacted with all the stuff happening right now, the high rates and fire insurance issues and all that stuff, you know, so we can't understand that pretty well. We have the pulse on it. So I think that that's an interesting space. California is very tough for short-term rental business, specifically Los Angeles, because of regulation and
Yeah.
the politics. And there's a lot of lobby money from the hotel. Hotel lobby is very strong, so they've been successful at, at kind of breaking the Airbnb business out there. So
where your properties are all out of state?
no, they're all in LA. It's been tough, but yeah, we've
Yes.
figured out how to maneuver for now. But there's always something coming up. There's always going to be, some change that's happening that's not in our favor, and it's been really rough. So
Possibly going to sell all those properties soon.
we try not to sell any real estate. Try to buy it, but it's been an experience. Even if we wanted to sell right now, we couldn't sell because all the equity that we thought we had is kind of gone because all the fire sales in all the neighborhoods and all the comps, right? So that's another discussion as well, because we have so many properties and we thought we have really great LTVs, like 50% in most of them, and then you start seeing the comps. Next door neighbors are selling for 50% of the value, stuff like that. That's happening.
Comps are like that in LA
Really
right
bad, really bad. So all this equity we thought we had is gone, completely gone. So
I mean, you're not in the Palisades, like, for crying out loud.
we're in the Palisades. Would be better there. We're in West Hollywood Hills, mostly.
So you've seen massive declines in
massive
values?
declines. Yeah, because people can't afford to hang on, and they can't. The fire insurance is gone, so you're on a state fair plan, for only a portion of it, and then your banks are gonna push insurance, which is pretty expensive. Some of our clients are paying like $4,000 or $5,000 a month on hazard insurance. That's the forced coverage from the mortgage banks. It's pretty insane,
Dude,
and then,
that's insane.
yeah, it's pretty wild. And then a lot of these people they were forced to refi because the economy's so bad. They had to pull out cash. They're like sitting at like 7.5, 8.5%. These non-QM loans and these DSCRs are so bad. So it's like very hard. It's tough, and you can't refi anytime soon because we don't see rates coming down that much.
And the fire insurance, you can't get insurance for the loan.
Can't get insurance, especially all those like $4 or $5 million, $6 million homes. They're not selling because you can't get coverage for them, and it's like, what do you do? So homes aren't selling. They're not selling because of fire insurance and because of the rates, both of them. It's not just one. So if we had like one of them change, then stuff will start selling again. The only sales are fire sales, and people can't afford them. And you can't remove them from the appraisals as outliers because they're actually good homes, So we have no equity anymore. It's gone,
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Equity gone overnight.
I didn't even realize that LA is toast with their values.
It's pretty
right
bad.
now.
Yeah.
And it was just like all these celebrities who own homes there are just.
We're all fucked. So I have a home up in West Hollywood Hills 2.5 years ago. Last appraisal was $7.95 million. Next door neighbor right now is selling, and that's a 5,500 square foot home. Crazy views, great home, all glass. Next door neighbor, same home, same kind of home, 6,700 square feet, bigger, much bigger than my property. Selling his home for $4 million right now. $4 million. He's been on market for 6 months. He's getting an offer. He's gonna sell. He's gonna break at 3.5.
Dude, you can't even build half that house for $3.5 million.
He's gonna break at 3.5. And by the way,
it costs more than $1,000 a square foot to build that.
It does, but if he sells at 3.5, 6,700 square feet. What are we at, like $500 a foot, basically? $500 a foot. My last appraisal was $8 million. What do you think? First of all, I can't tap any equity because technically equity's gone, right? Can't tap any equity. Equity's gone. It's like your whole net worth is cut in half because all the properties are looking like that basically too, right? So it's been a year. So
damn,
it's troubling,
Time to move to Newport Beach, bro.
Yeah, I don't know about the valuations here though.
We're overvalued here because everybody from LA came here.
Yeah, that's great. Everyone's leaving, going to Miami over there. So
yeah, here in Newport Beach, I can't tell you how many Palisades families are just on my kid's baseball team.
Sure. Yeah,
like
that's
just
great.
like 20% of the team is from Palisades.
So the Palisades is an interesting challenge. So I have quite a few friends that were in the Palisades, and some of them did really well. With recovering their losses.
The insurance covered 100% for most people.
Not for most people. Let me tell you what happened. And there's a vast majority of my friends who were affected, by the fires that here's what happened to all of them. It's pretty crazy. So they bought their homes 20 years ago. Let's say they paid, $3 million for their home. They never updated the policies to increase coverage. Now, this is the vast majority of the people, okay? So what happened was, out of a $3 million purchase price, how much of it was dwelling, like $2 million or something, right? Never updated the policies. You can't build that house for $2 million. It's going to cost you like 4 or 5 now to build it, maybe even more because, all the crazy demand over there. So what happens is they get a check for $2 million, doesn't go to them, goes to the mortgage company, gets, the $2 million because they have a balance on the home still. And then they end up with, hopefully their mortgage is paid off, and they end up with a lot. And that's it. They end up with a lot. And they don't have the means to go and build another home. So they're selling. You hear about them selling the lots, right? Now even Gavin Newsom's out there buying lots for
pennies.
For pennies. He's buying lots to build, housing for, how do we call that? PC, but you know what I mean, right? So he's building.
Underprivileged. They're going to put like.
They're putting like
canned homes on them.
Exactly. Homes for like, like
manufactured homes,
low income homes,
tiny homes,
low income homes. Yeah. So they're buying the lots for pennies because nobody can do anything with the lots. So I have several friends. The same thing happened to them. The insurance didn't cover most of the property in the home either. They got a limit on that as well from like back, like whenever they bought the home. Nobody updated their policies. So they paid out whatever they're supposed to pay out. Yeah, obviously it's the fault of the homeowner to not update the policy, but this happened to the majority of the people, and that's why you're finding all these lots that are available right now because they can't afford to build on them. So it's a big problem. The people are out there buying lots right now, and there's a pretty big opportunity from that perspective, but it's pretty fucked up, So
there's a really big opportunity for those to come in.
Yeah.
But man, I would not buy in Palisades. I mean, the probability of another fire if they build it again, who knows?
I love Palisades though; it's great. But yeah, it is. I feel there was a manufactured fire. It was not a real fire.
Yeah, it was a manufactured fire.
Yeah, for sure. So that could happen again too. But all of this is starting to make sense where people are. There's just a lot of like things happening right now that are, that there's a lot of opportunity from demise, right? So fires happen. A lot of people lost their homes. Guess what? Now people can you can go in and buy, these lots they're sitting on the floor basically. Like you could never buy lots in that neighborhood. Now you can. So I also feel like COVID came and there was a lot of destruction from COVID, economic destruction. We have not recovered since then. There's so much pain from that, and that created the bottom, right? Again, so there's a lot of moments where we see the bottom happening a lot, again. And so we have a different perspective because when we talk to clients, we're talking to clients every day on the credit repair side, and all we hear, you can imagine, is demise, right?
Yeah.
And we're seeing more right now. We're seeing more volume right now than we did in 2008 and 2009.
Which is crazy because, I do economic updates every day, and it's like, job reports came in, or we're seeing a bounce back in rates, or we're inflation's cooling,
Sure.
and all this high level economic upbeat stuff. But
Sure.
really, like if you get granular and like a lot of that is just like there's so much chaos in the economy right now.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fluff. Like I don't know, you guys. I don't know what you're seeing here, but over there, you drive around West Hollywood, and all these iconic places are all gone. They're all gone. Like Chin Chin, gone. Petite Four, gone. Pink Taco, Tessa, Catch Steak, MXO, brand new restaurant that just opened 6 months ago.
What do you mean? Like Catch Steak is gone in Hollywood?
Gone. Yeah, they're gone.
What do you mean? Like they just shut down because
they're all out of business? Yeah.
Pink Taco's out of business?
Gone. And I'm telling you, there's countless more. All these iconic places gone, and this all happened this year. So it's pretty concerning, So there's a lot happening. That's that's a bit, I don't know. It's consistent with what I see, on these credit reports. Consistent with what I see. Now your perspective is different because you're here in Newport, and I feel like you guys are like a little bit shielded from from some of that stuff too. But you see the the loan origination volume, that is a pretty good indicator,
Yeah, I mean, right now, for my business model, I told you kind of like we thrive on bad economies. My specific model, but there's only a handful of us.
Yeah.
We're considered a mega broker, and there's only 5 of us. So
Sure.
we thrive on other mortgage companies going out of business because then it's an opportunity for them to come clean to a mega company who has all the resources and the money and can withstand economic turmoil.
Yeah.
So as we grow, that's also kind of an indicator that other companies are going out of business. So we're continuing. We acquire companies for $0.
Sure.
And the larger the company that comes to us is an indicator, like the more demise that's happening.
Sure.
And so if a company with 100 guys comes over, it's like, dude, this is tough times.
Yeah.
Because this company was making tens of millions.
You know Albert Preciado?
Of course.
Yeah, I was talking to him the other day. I think they're kind of feeling.
Would love Albert to join us. I've mentioned it many times, but big ego.
I'll get him here.
Yeah, big ego. I'm like, Albert, you'd make 10 times more money, and he makes a lot of money.
Right.
If he's listening, Albert, I'm still gonna tell you. Yeah.
He's got he's got this whole Hispanic community cornered.
He does. Yeah, I'll help him dominate.
Yeah. That they're from that perspective, he's got that world and he's got their trust. And I don't know. I've keynoted his driven events too. They were fun.
Yeah, he's a good
I've
guy.
been on his podcast and stuff.
I like Albert. I saw a funny TikTok made fun of him, one of his podcasts before. It was hilarious yesterday. I'm gonna send it to him.
There's a lot of that out there.
Because he's a controversial guy.
Super controversial. And I'd have to tell him, he comes to my dinners I have a boys' dinner on Thursday. I have 80 guys in a dinner club in LA. I've been doing for 7 years. We go at Craig's. I rotate 12 different guys every week on Thursdays. And Albert will come. And, and I would have to sit next to him and tell him, like, bro, what the fuck did you say in this podcast? You got to stop sometimes, He's like, bitch, I've been driving a Rolls Royce since, like something like that. I'm like, bro, come on, dude. It's so crazy.
It's so funny.
I know. I'm like, bro, I don't publish anything. Like, nobody knows anything about me, other than the shit they see. I wear beads, you know? So
well, we're third world immigrants, bro.
Right. But at the same time, it's like I'm very spiritual, so.
Yeah. That's staying rooted in your spirituality and your faith is like what keeps you like grounded.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
it's all endogenous,
Yeah, it's a big part of my show here. Even it's like everything I am is because I come from a persecuted Christian community in Egypt. Like we came because of that, so that's why I keep that mentality. I keep I say 6th world roots because I'm from a third world of a third world.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. I believe it. You're not white. I got it. Just kidding.
No. But it's I say it on podcasts, I say it in my book. I say it like
he's Egyptian, guys. Everyone.
Yeah. It's just part of my identity. Like I come from like a really poor part of Cairo, the poorest part. Like there's like a handful of really, really poor parts, and you just and then here I am in the richest part of America. Mm-hmm. So the dichotomy is like insane.
Yeah.
Like here I am from the absolute poorest. Now I'm in the absolute richest, and just like trying to instill a mindset like that in my kids is like the biggest struggle. Yeah. My kids, like their classmates are, their parents are won Super Bowls. Like
right.
Like
yeah, it's crazy.
I would have, they come to they know people that own sports teams.
Yeah, that's
like
crazy.
I would have never even imagined going to a sports game, let alone like sitting in the owner's box.
Yeah.
Ever in my life. My kids just do that. Like if they're not going to a sports in a box, like what are we doing?
That's wild. Yeah. So I don't have kids, but eventually when I do, I'll just show them my film, the film I starred in. It was like Slumdog Millionaire. That was me.
Just
kidding.
Yeah.
It's basically the same story. Totally. Yeah. I came from India, That's what it looked like. So,
that's real.
That's real. That was me. For all, intents and purposes. So
yeah, it's cool to to have that root and then just kind of maintain that mentality, especially in this journey of success that you've had. Let's dive into it, man. Like all these exits, all these brands, like what was MySpace like in the beginning? For me, I was intrigued by MySpace. Like I loved MySpace when it was around. It was the catalyst to Facebook. It was the catalyst to this world we're in right now. This social media dominant world we're in.
Yeah, I mean we pretty much, for I would say like, like the wide version. We invented social media. I think that we weren't the first social media platform. There was a bunch of them before us. It was like Friendster and a couple others. But we're the one that took off pretty fast. We actually went after Friendster to copy Friendster, and we ended up doing it way better. But that was the idea.
Is Friendster still around?
No. Friendster's not around. But the idea really was we wanted to build a non-taboo dating site. That was what MySpace was supposed to be. So Tom, he was on Match.com like way back in the days, and being on a dating site back then was super taboo. It was weird. So. He wanted to do something that's a little bit more, less taboo, and so that was the idea. We took off like super, super viral really fast. Within the first week, we're starting to get offers, like it was that crazy. And we had no idea that it was going to be that, that big or that great. And, we just kept growing and growing. And then I felt like, we touched so much pop culture, which was really exciting. We were always around all these like Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee and 50 Cent and even Diddy. Yes, we were around. I didn't go to those parties. I went to a bunch of other parties. We toured Danity Kane, one of his Making the Band artists. I think one or two of them testified against him in the trial. It's so funny, but I know those girls. I've known them we did like 50 city tour with them, so I knew them really well. It was a really great time. It was so much fun. Like it was really, really was truly so much fun. My title was VP of Fun, and so I was head of all strategic marketing, and it was great. It was just it was a different time, and I came off of the thing for me, which was like so much contrast, was I came off of a corporate job, Lower My Bills. Right before that, I was at Lower My Bills, and Lower My Bills was it was like 15-hour days selling to like Countrywide, you know what I mean, and these big huge banks, and it was just all big business development deals and just selling leads. And, at a certain point you start wondering, where's the value, like really like what behavioral change are we making in people? Like what are we doing that's really helping people, I mean, besides helping them get a cheaper mortgage, obviously that's a commodity, right? So you get to a point where it's like I'm selling something for money, and it's really just didn't sit right with me for a while. And then I said I'm not doing sales or business development ever again. So after that exit, I just said I'm done. And then MySpace was purely marketing. That's what my degree's in, and it was completely different. I didn't use anything I learned in college, by the way. So besides the discipline, and it was great. It was just Tom and I running around the country.
Was this you and Tom just running the show?
No, I mean there was a bunch of people, but I mean as far as like the people, MySpace people would see us. We're the only real people that MySpace people that they would see. We were the tangible MySpace face. It was me and it was Tom. And Tom would be, everyone saw Tom as their first friend. And then he would make appearances. We'd have parties all around the country, everywhere. That's kind of how we promoted MySpace in the beginning. It was MySpace parties. And we evolved pretty quickly to other stuff like content acquisition deals and stuff. But that was kind of it. It was so much fun, and MySpace Music blew up. It was really huge, and we had a record label with Jimmy Iovine, Interscope Records, called MySpace Records,
which MySpace is now just music, anyways, right?
I don't know what it is now. The guys in Orange County own it.
Justin Timberlake.
So basically what happened was MySpace was sold after us to, from News Corp, sold it to Specific Media. There's two brothers. There's like Vanderhook brothers. Specific Media was a media company that was based in Orange County here. They bought it. And then part of their launch, they gave Justin Timberlake $7 million to do an endorsement deal, right? So it was just part of it, but it was an endorsement deal. Didn't really work out. They tried to relaunch it. Didn't work. And then that company got rebranded and went public and all this stuff to Viant. And Viant is still based in Orange County. They're a public company. And they still own it. And I've been trying to buy it. There's a lot of controversy around this publicly because I've called them out publicly several times. I've been reaching out to the brothers, Chris, and I'm like, hey, look, we're the only ones that can reactivate MySpace. So why don't you give it to us?
What would you do different?
Either buy it or I just want the domain. I don't want the brand. I don't want anything. I just want the domain. So what would we do? Build like Instagram or TikTok killer. We know exactly what we need to do. It's super easy. But to reactivate Tom, in that world, because Tom's happy. He doesn't want to work. He doesn't need to do anything. He just likes doing what he does, which is golf. He plays golf.
Where is he at?
He plays golf here in Irvine. He has a house here in Irvine. He plays golf here. There's some sort of golf course. I don't know anything about golf, but he's been trying to get me to play with him for years, So
probably plays a big canyon here in Newport.
White people shit, Just kidding. Sorry, Tiger. But I feel that so he lives here. He lives in Vegas most of the time, and then he comes, comes here, comes to West Hollywood, comes to Hawaii. So that's his thing. But so I think that I don't know. I mean, it was great. It was so much fun. There was a lot of value that we delivered to people. We're able to, I still get DMs from people. I met my wife on MySpace. I'm like, fuck, I'm sorry. No, it worked out. Okay, good. That's great. Stuff like that, so many artists we discovered. Dane Cook was discovered there. Even Sean Kingston, who's in jail now. So many huge artists were discovered on MySpace. Remember Sean Kingston?
Yeah, the reggae music,
dude,
right?
He's in jail.
I didn't even know
him
that.
and his mom.
Yeah. The chubby guy, right?
The chubby guy. Yeah, we did a lot of work with him. I've known him forever.
I didn't even know that he went to jail.
He just went to jail recently. Him and his mom did some sort of fraud. I don't know, some kind of fraud. I don't know, man. Some crazy shit in Florida. Florida, there's a lot of weird shit happening in Florida all the time. Florida used to be the armpit of the universe. Now everyone moved there, so I don't know. You know why, right? Homestead.
Yeah.
So Dan Bilzerian's dad story?
No.
Dan Bilzerian's dad embezzled $100 million from the company he was working for a long time ago, right? He embezzled that money, had to go to prison, went to prison. The government's been trying to recover that money for a long time. The government ended up spending more than $100 million to recover the money, and then they finally quit. What he did that was really smart, he kept the money here, but they couldn't get it because he bought really crazy homes for all his kids in Florida, and each one of the homes were their primary residence for each one of the kids, and they had like columns made out of gold and weird shit like that, so it's part of the home, So in Florida, they can't take your home, so they couldn't take any of the homes. One of the kids expatriated, gave up his citizenship, moved to the Cook Islands, and they started selling homes and transferring the money over there. Couldn't touch him. That's how he got his money. Yeah, that's how Dan got his money initially.
I didn't know that. Dan's inherited wealth. See, Armenians are always just ahead. They just
Homestead Act. Yeah.
That was genius.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for him to embezzle money and go to Florida.
Dad took one for the team.
Then all the kids are made.
They're all made.
It's crazy. And he's still in jail, the dad.
No. I don't think so. I don't know how much time he did, but I'm sure he's out. This is like something that happened in like the 80s or 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
What kind of company was that?
I have no idea.
Man, you know all the celebrity.
Oh, if you look it up, you'll find it. It's all over the internet.
It's crazy. So, so why did you start in the mortgage industry? Like, how'd you get involved with Lower My Bills?
Okay, so interesting story. I worked for a lot of .com companies in the 90s, and I ended up at a comparison shopping engine. Do you remember Price Grabber?
Yeah.
Price Grabber, and then there was like a bunch of them. And then NextTag was another one. So I ended up at NextTag. NextTag was basically comparison shopping engine. So it is for like software and like shoes and like electronic products and stuff like that. So you basically, this was the buyer's behavior before. Before you bought like a TV or, like something like that online, you'd go to a comparison shopping engine like Price Grabber. You put in the model number and you'll see all these vendors, all these retailers selling them, right? And they'd see their prices, and basically you'd buy it from you'd find the the lowest price from that comparison shopping engine, and you click on it, and it would take you to that site, and you would buy it there, and we would get paid for the click, right? So we were NextTag, and we were a comparison shopping engine, one of the biggest ones. We get paid for the click. So we had all these guys. Imagine all these electronic retailers on the site paying us for those clicks. It's basically like another search engine, right? But very specifically for these types of products. So when I got there, I thought, okay, this is great, but how about we're selling leads, right? Because that's a lead, right? So how about LendingTree? LendingTree's on fire right now. LendingTree's killing it, but they're only doing TV. They were only doing TV at the time. Why don't we have a mortgage product, or like a personal finance product, like credit cards or something, Okay, great, let's try it. So we got partnered with a mortgage broker, and we're live in a few states, and we started running ads on our own site to market refi and home purchase. And so we did that, and the stick rate was really strong. It was converting pretty well. So we started selling the leads. We started doing biz dev deals with banks to buy the leads, and there you go. And we got to $500,000 a day pretty quick. So that's how we got to that. And then so I was one of the 5 people in the country who knew the personal finance lead space really well, digitally, online, you know? So when I went to Lower My Bills was doing credit card and debt at the time. They weren't doing refi or home purchase, any mortgage products at all. So they hired me basically to kind of grow that business.
So what were you one of the executives there as well? And then you were part of the exit.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a earn out there too?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it was good. So I was talking about this. I just came from another podcast, by the way, but this other podcast, I was talking about this recipe, right? So I've always been at the right place at the right time, and I've done it like at least 4 times, right? Like a bunch of times. But how? You know, like how are you at the right place at the right time? Is it a fluke? Is it random? Is it like I'm fucking lucky? No, I'm not lucky. I'm fortunate, but I have figured out the recipe for right place at the right time. And the recipe is basically you just have to be around the right people all the time, right? And so what does the right people actually mean? It's quite different from eliminating the wrong people. It's not that. It's not only eliminating the wrong people, but it's strategically placing the exact people that do things really well or perfectly that you want to achieve and you want to do, right? So if you want to be really great in the printing business, you should be around people that are in the printing business, right? That understand that business. You want to take your company public, you got to be around people like Robbie Lee, who taught me how to take my companies public and buy companies with no cash. We're just selling a dream, right? Using private paper, you know, stuff like that. So it's always for me, it's always been about being around those people. And I've never had a plan for the future. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I never did. Just being around the right people, I could pick up opportunities pretty quickly and figure out how to add value in that sector and run. And one other thing that I do that I'm focused on is I don't care about monetization. I only care about adding value. Figuring out how to add tremendous value, eventually figuring out how to monetize it, you know, once you've built some critical mass. So that's my mantra is a little bit different than a lot of other people wanting to build businesses and trying to figure out how to monetize before delivering the value. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I can see that cadence in your career path because you're like, Lower My Bills came, added value, added mortgage. Myspace came, added value. You know, but these companies like the credit repair and the Airbnb, I mean, not right time and right
yeah,
place.
it's a credit repair business is like
Airbnb.
Credit repair business is huge value, right? For people because it changes their lives, right? I mean, we feel really good about what we do because we give people another start. Like we get countless people coming to us saying, I'm about to file bankruptcy, but my cousin is your client. And he told us that, you know, you could be the alternative. And we're like looking at their debt and you've got like $50,000 in debt. You want to file bankruptcy? Are you out of your fucking mind? You're crazy. No, here's what we're going to do, you know? And so we save them from that, you know? So we feel,
I mean, how can you, like, if they don't have $50,000 to pay the debt, they can't afford the $1,500 payments. Like, what can they do?
oh, there's so much we can do. First of all, they get sucked into debt settlement companies,
Which destroy, it is like
which destroy them. So let me tell you what those companies do. Debt settlement companies will collect all their fees. But by the way, their fees are like 75% of the amount that you agree to pay them in total, right?
Which I had someone come here in my office today, like, he had $40,000 in debt. I'm like, and he wants to like buy again. I'm like, dude, I'm just going to tell you exactly what the debt settlement company does.
Yeah.
Don't make your payments for 4 months. Call them in 4 or 5 months and settle them 20 cents on the dollar yourself.
I don't even do that. I'll tell you what I do. So basically, that settlement company is going to say, you got $40,000 in debt. You're going to pay us, $20,000. And out of that $20,000, we're going to save $5,000 to settle with them. And then $15,000 of it is going to be our fee. But by the way, we're not going to negotiate a deal or start paying your creditors until we collect 100% of our fees. So it could be like 2 years down the road, we've collected all of our fees, and then now we're going to negotiate a deal, right?
They've already wrote off the debt.
But in this case, in the 24 months, if you stop paying them, guess what happens? Let's say you paid them $14,000 out of $15 that you committed to pay them. They keep the $14,000. you don't get a penny of it back. So that settlement business is a scam. What we do is, I will tell you, because we have so much experience with these creditors, I will look at your credit report. You've defaulted on all these lines, all these credit cards, all these loans, all this. I will tell you exactly who's going to sue you and who's not going to sue you. And I'll tell you how to deal with service if they try to sue you as well. We have lawyers for that. We have attorneys for that. It'll settle for like pennies on the dollar. But 95% of these creditors will not sue you. So what do? We remove the stuff from the credit report. You can go get new credit. If they come at you, you don't have to worry about it unless you get served or you get sued. If that point happens, we give you our attorney, and they will negotiate a settlement with them. It'll take 2-3 years to pay it off, and you'll get a crazy rate, and it'll be pennies on the dollar. So it's a lot cheaper because 100% of them will not sue you. Maybe 5% of them will, and we already know. I know American Express will, Bank of America will, Cal Bank and Trust will. There's a handful of them that will. Majority of them do not sue. So it's like most people are scared. I'm going to get sued. We remove it from the credit report. What incentive do you have to pay them? There's no incentive. It's gone. You start all over again. So most of these people that wanted to file bankruptcy, they don't have to.
That's crazy.
Yeah. What I say is deal with it now. But just like basically just remove it from the credit report. Ask for forgiveness later on. When they come at you. When they come looking for an apology, then you give them an apology and then say, here's my attorney. My attorney is specialized in it's all in contingency. You will pay, you will pay them a fraction, and they'll get, 25% or 10% of the balance negotiated over a 3-year term. Why would you file bankruptcy? There's no reason to. I have clients that we've had to remove hundreds of accounts, like from their credit report, like one client with 100 accounts. When shit goes bad and these bigger people, they fall hard, right? They're brand new. They didn't even have to file bankruptcy. You remove them. They get sued by American Express, sued by Bank of America. By the way, American Express sues you. Guess what happens? They dangle a carrot in front of you. You can have another American Express as soon as we deal with this. So you can negotiate a term with them, typically 40 to 50% of the balance, pay them over like 2-3 years. As soon as you're done, guess what? They give you a new card. So why would you pay them the 100% right now? I tell them conserve your cash,
People just don't know.
They don't know. They don't know.
It's
And
like
they don't have resources like us.
Yeah.
That's the difference. They don't know people. Some people get suicidal. It's really sad and tragic. Some people get really, really depressed. My credit's ruined.
It destroys families. It destroys, one of the leading causes of divorce, always financial hardship.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So I have these other clients. So some of them, they're trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, that kind of thing. Basically balance transfer, hopping around and stuff, and they're running out of cash, because their income's gone. It's a very common conversation right now. A lot of people are faced with, they just lost their income, completely. And for some reason, a lot of my clients lost in March for some weird reason, and I tell them, your cash, you need to conserve your cash if you have no income. But I got to pay these. I got to pay. No. It's fine to default on this stuff right now. I would always recommend the default versus, the continue to use your cash. You have no income. Use the default, and we could remove it. It's not a big deal, And I'll tell you who's going to sue you. So, yeah, it's really sad and scary what's going on out there.
Unbelievable.
And people have been screwed so many times by credit repair companies, So it's kind of scary.
This is a great question. There's a version of success where you burn out quietly behind the scenes. What did that look like for you? How did you reset?
Yeah, that happened to me a lot during during the last public company that I ran for about 7 years. We went public, and within a year or so, I started having to deal with the whole being public CEO chairman thing, which was like really painful. It was like, I was, paparazzi get me coming out of my Bugatti, and then they'd write a fucking article about me saying that I'm overpaid, like really crazy stuff, and then they'd short my stock the next day, like really wild shit. And I'm just thinking like, yo, this is not what I signed up for. It was really scary. And that's why I stopped drinking coffee, by the way, because the coffee was amplifying my anxiety, my stress. Like something would appear to be like really bigger than it was, and the coffee for me made it just worse, or it was espresso specifically, not coffee. But anyways, so I had to get my fundamental fundamental values in line. And for me, the 5 pillars are health, wellness, fitness, spirituality, and sleep. Those are the things that are most important to me, and I have to maintain that, because once that is in line, everything else is just, another episode or another era of my life, And so when I went into fight or flight for a year and a half or 2 years because of all the stuff that was going on in the stock market stuff. And you hear about people jumping off of buildings and shit, stock market
What year was
related
this?
stuff. It was like 2017, 2018, it was like really, really crazy. And so I started to transform, like I started to look different. My body changed, I wasn't working out regularly because I was just engulfed by, all the stress. It was really wild. So I had to snap out of it. I did a lot of, I had to get my hormones balanced. Endocrine was fully disrupted by all the stress, So I hired a hormone doctor, to look at my hormones. Endocrinologist, yeah. And basically look at my labs, and it was pretty bad, So I had to get my hormones back in line. My hormones have been balanced for, since by 2017 by doctors, and everything's perfect at all times. And we make adjustments because I'm 49, so we don't produce, everything anymore. But back then, my testosterone was like down to like under 100, from all the stress.
Wow.
It's really crazy because your cortisol is a testosterone killer, and then estrogen, right? Estradiol was up super high, up to like 200. It was really bad. Your estrogen should not be more than 20. It was insane. So all of that was messed up. So I had to do a lot with hormones first, and then get really focused on fitness again, get my health back in line. So fitness, wellness together equal health, right? So those are the 3 most important things to me. And then I say that because time is really critical. Time is the only, currency you can't replenish, right? That's the one thing that you give someone your time, it's worth more than any money you can give anyone. And then the health, right? You can't buy your health back, later on. You can't say, oh, I'm just going to do this, whatever this project is, however long it's going to take, and I'll just, spend a bunch of money to buy my health back later on. And it's a lot of times that can't happen. It's just like you need to maintain that. So the health, part of your gratitude, your practice includes your health and wellness, right? That's a really important thing. And then I had to really become more spiritual because I was too externally focused with all the shit going on that's uncontrollable. So I started, like really focusing on my TM practice. I've been practicing transcendental meditation for a long time, and that really changed a lot of things for me, and that got me really back to got my peace back. So the hormones, the fitness, and the change of like the stuff I was eating, and then the spirituality of meditation, and then in addition to that, like my sleep, my sleep was not great because of all the stuff happening. I'd wake up super anxious and just have so much cortisol and adrenaline. Doing all this stuff changed everything, and my sleep patterns changed. I started measuring my sleep with the Oura Ring. And
yeah, you still measure it?
I still do. I haven't had it. I haven't worn it outside of, I just kind of use it at home. I don't wear it out anymore. But it's really great because you can see what changes your intake, like food and whatever you consume will have on your.
If you eat a certain time, it messes up your sleep.
Yeah, it does. You shouldn't eat past a certain time. You shouldn't go sleep past a certain time. Caffeine should be limited to I don't think you should have caffeine past noon. I think
Yeah.
You could see all the changes. For me, my deep sleep was always fine, but my REM was terrible. And I think the REM was compromised because of maybe things I was, consuming, or, maybe eating too late, or, maybe whatever it was, And I think that measuring that gave me, it was kind of like gamifying it a little bit, so I could like make changes and see it, materialize, and it was really good. So then that's how I arrived at the 5 pillars, health, wellness, fitness, spirituality, and sleep, because I went through that stage and I was like, fuck, man, I was like 40 years old, and I was just really, I was feeling like I was 60, and I had no energy, and I had no, I was just, imagine your test being under 100, as a man, and you're like 40, not like 60, like 50. I had no ambition, like everything was just gone. I was just consumed. Everything for me was based on the numbers of that day, right? And that's not how to live, that's what was happening. And so how I got out of it was getting my core values back, which were those five, and really just sticking to that. And no matter what happens to me in life, a building burns down, or I lose everything, whatever, those five things will keep me
Grounded.
Keep me and identify me. Those are part of my identity, and they're a little bit different than a few other people. So that's kind of how it was. That's what's important. That's why I've never been materialistic, or never really cared about, any of that stuff, because I felt like those are the things that really differentiate.
Those are the things that matter.
Those are literally the only things that matter to me. So,
like the big house in Hollywood, boom, gone.
Who cares?
Couple fires.
I moved to Bali. I don't give a fuck. It's fine. I love Bali.
The Bugatti, and like you're probably not driving that. Well, I don't know. It's just all.
It breaks all the time, right? So, if something happens, it breaks, who cares? Yeah, but I was a car guy, so I was never like, oh my God, these are like cool things. Like, I'm not like Albert out there posting pictures of my cars and shit, but it was always like, I'm a car guy since I was a kid. So that's basically what it was. But yeah, nobody really knows about that stuff, I keep it pretty private. Yeah. I'm not trying to alienate people. That's the other thing too. When I walk in a room, I'm wearing beads just like you. I'm not wearing $1 million watch or, whatever. I'm not doing that. I don't have any jewelry on. Nobody knows who I am. I'm dressed maybe a little bit interesting, whatever. I walk into a room. There are no preconceived notions about me. This is an interesting guy. He might be black, you know what I'm saying? Which is cool, and then, people are just like, yo, there's no like, oh, I see a watch. He demands some sort of respect. Like, like none of that. They will respect me if I say the right things. So that's my thing. That's the thing, is like, I need a chance. I want a chance to prove myself. Let me talk, and that's kind of it. That's how it's been. And, I think that I don't need symbolism. I don't want symbolism to, to represent me, So
when you keynote, like, what do you talk about? Like, do you
anything
talk about the
and everything.
experiences? Do you hit, because you're so well versed. Like,
Thank you.
Exactly exactly what you said. It's like, you come in, might be a black dude, don't even know, like, and then you just start speaking. You're like,
yeah, no,
damn.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Who is this guy?
Thank you. So, the thing is, like, I don't prepare for any podcast. I don't prepare for any keynote. I'll speak for an hour and a half or more, whatever. About, I'll just wing it. So I'll give you an example. Albert had driven 7. It was like it was like a year and a half ago, whatever. I keynoted that, and that basically, I was up there for an hour and a half. I was talking about private versus public equities, and showing people how to raise money, and like how you get to the point where you could do public, you could tap public equity, and it's not as hard as you think it is. You could do it in 3 months, you could take a company public in 3 months. You go to NASDAQ QM, list it, and then you could uplist to the big board, within a couple months. And people are like, what? Yeah, it's not that hard. I'll show you. It's easier to do it in the first or second year of your business, because you don't need 3 years of audits. You just need 1 or 2 years, And they're like, what? It's just like, oh, I've done it several times, know how to do it. So I talk about that. I have done keynotes about spirituality, about health and wellness, about talking about programmatic advertising. It's just like so much stuff, like I've been blessed with having all kinds of experiences, and like one thing that I've been really fortunate for is that I'm not shy, I'll talk about, whatever I'm confident about, and I think that my basis is to deliver value to people, and really to help them or inspire them, and to get them to the next level. If they're thinking about this already, reach out to me, I'll help you get to the next stage. I don't want anything in return, so
that's what it's about, man. It's just serving, doing God's work, being of service to people, and you're always taken care of.
Yeah, I think we're here for other people. We're not here for ourselves, So I've never found any fulfillment in doing anything for myself, which is, I learned that at a pretty early age. So I've always been inclined to like, let me add some value here, so I could like, justify my existence. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've identified at a young age a life of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
Yeah, I don't have a why, and I never did. You know, like I've been trying to figure it out, but I felt like during the interim, while I figure out I'm 49, I haven't found my why yet. But during the interim, while I'm on this mission to find my why, let me do some things that could, potentially help other people. And that's like whatever it is. It's just like I think stuff that's along the way. I mean, you don't even need to go out of your way for people as long as you're. It's stuff that you're already good at and people need help figuring it out. Just, I think it's good to, to really just, pay one forward,
I mean, the why, like, I think that comes once you, like, for me, it's like fatherhood.
Sure.
Like, I leave work every day, 3:00, just to drive my kids to jiu-jitsu and just sit there, like, watch them train. It's like, I don't care about work. I don't care about, like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Present. Like, I'll go play basketball with them. I'll go play baseball with them. It's like my wife for that. But that kind of just happens. Like, until then, being of service, being, like, helping people, like, and then, boom, your kids. And it becomes your wife. Look at Dan Fleischman. Like, his whole world is, like, around one girl. One little baby girl.
Yeah.
It's just, it happens naturally. You got plenty of time. Don't worry.
No, I think.
You're reversing in age.
No, I mean, yeah. I feel like I am reversing in age. It's crazy. It's good, no drinking, no alcohol, no caffeine really, other than this coffee here, matcha once in a while. And I was carnivore for several years, and one meal a day, that kind of thing, working out a lot. Yeah, I have reversed my age effectively for sure, because I feel a lot better than I did when I was in my early 40s.
Yeah.
I look younger. People don't believe that I'm 49, and and the energy, I'm around like really good people, and I feel, ambitious, I feel ambitious, which is really a good thing. And the last part I was talking about ambition and the fire, the burning desire. It's something that's really hard to train in people or to help people discover. I think that it's a thing that people have or they don't have, and I'm fortunate to have it. I think I was exposed to some really good information at an early age. I was reading, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, and, Brian Tracy and all this stuff as a kid, and I think that really helped me understand what the possibilities were. So I became super, super ambitious. And, I think that helped me quite a bit.
Unlocks potential you didn't even know was possible.
I feel like, anything is possible. We've seen some weird, really crazy shit happen, in a good way and a bad way too. Anything's possible.
Right when we met, we were like immediately talking about like biohacking therapies. Like, what's your biohacking protocol? Like morning routine,
sure,
supplement stack.
Yeah, so I think so first thing I do, I don't eat anything until later in the day. I used to eat one meal a day. Now I'm down to like 2. I'll eat something like around maybe 3:00 or something, and then again at like 7 or 8. I don't eat much, and then in the morning, first thing I have is I have about 6 ounces of water in a mason jar and 10 grams of creatine, 3 grams of HMB. I take the nitrous oxide mix. It's really great for vascular dilation. And also Symbiotica's adaptogenic mushroom pack, and then they have L-theanine.
That could replace coffee. Right?
Yeah, for sure. And then the L-theanine pack that they have as well. That's magnesium for your brain, and it really is awesome because it's mood enhancing and it breaks the blood brain barrier. So it's fantastic. And then 8 ounces of water, and 6 ounces of water, and I just mix it, and it's super small, and I just down it. It doesn't taste bad either. And I think that the HMB is really incredible because the studies around it are so good. You'll grow muscle mass without even working out. So it's really great if you're not working out for a moment in time to help you sustain your gains. And then the creatine, I use the 10 grams of creatine in the morning as a brain supplement. It's the best cognitive supplement you can have. It's so good. It creates ATP, which is fuel for your brain, which is fantastic. And then I take 5 grams of creatine post-workout as well because the post-workout is, it'll be great for your muscles as well.
But aren't you starving post-workout? Like you
no,
don't
I'm not.
Nothing?
I have fasted workout, and I'm not starving after my workout either. It's really, I'm just used to this, But post-workout be probably around like 2 or 3 anyways. And so I'll have, like a 40 to 50 gram protein shake. and then maybe I'll have some food with that as well. But generally, I'm pretty carnivore. I mean, not fully anymore because I'm, I just want to live a little bit, and I think that when I was full carnivore, it was a little tough, but I eat mostly meat, and I think some vegetables are fine. There are quite a few vegetables that cause, lots of inflammation in your body, which are packed with oxalates and lectins, and so those are a lot of people that are vegetarian. I don't know, it's tricky. So kale and spinach and are very high in oxalates. They cause all the kidney stones and that's a pretty big problem. So, and then all the legume family is super high in lectins, and that causes all the autoimmune diseases known to man. The lectins, but they've been.
You don't have any legumes?
I try not to, because of the lectins, So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of data around that. I think that what's his name wrote a book. Do you remember? It was called Stephen Gundry.
Yeah.
So the book he wrote was it was about it was called The Plant Paradox. It's a pretty good book. I mean, it's a good book.
He has so many products online now.
He does. My friend Craig is his partner. You know Craig?
Which Craig?
Craig, can't remember his last name, but he's at Craig on Instagram. We've been friends for 20 years. Yeah, they've created $1 billion empire, over the Gundry stuff. They're doing pretty well. But yeah, so, from that perspective, and, as far as like the gear, the gear is BPC 157, some other peptides like CJC, and there's a few others as well. But
do you do any hyperbaric or red light bed or?
I have, I used to do some more red light stuff, and I have a panel at home. I haven't done it in a while, but I have a sauna, I have cold plunge, hot tub, pool, all that stuff in my home. So I'm doing all that stuff, and then I used to do cryo every day. I did that for like 9 years, man.
Yeah.
I haven't done it in a while. Cryo was really great, and I was super lean while I was doing cryo.
Dude, I got a guy coming on next week, the podcast, and all he does, he's retired, multiple exits. And he's like, I'm retired, but biohacking takes a long time. He's like, I'll go from this therapy to that therapy. It's like 6-7 hours is gone from my day.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is. It's truly a lot,
if I'm going to do the hyperbaric for an hour, and then I'm going to go in the red light bed for an hour, then I'm going to go to the gym for an hour. It's like you can spend your whole day if you're retired biohacking.
Yeah. It's a lot. And Brian Johnson too. He's
I mean, he's the king of it all. But
I think he was doing something that was actually accelerating his aging. I can't remember what it was.
Well, he's taking the kitchen sink approach.
Yeah.
It's like, which I kind of was doing for a while. I'm like, well, that's great. But I'm like, didn't work as much.
Mm-hmm.
Like the kitchen sink approach works for like a few months.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, I really got to like dial this in here.
I don't know about the blood transfusions with his son. That's
freaky stuff, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
But like as an athlete, hyperbaric chamber, I felt like really leveled my basketball game.
I'm telling you, the hyperbaric chamber is really, really, really great. It's really incredible. So if you have access to that, you should try it. And there's so much benefit to it. It's
just an hour of your day.
Yeah, though. It's so great. And the chambers are not too expensive either, right?
They're like $40,000.
Yeah, I guess that it's relative.
But we have like places in the I got like membership. You just go there. Sure. You go to the red light. You go to hyperbaric. You go to Theta Bed.
You guys have like Next Health here or something.
Yeah, it's called Del Mar. The wellness centers they're all. Yeah. They have the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a lot of.
It's like med spas.
Yeah, exactly.
There's one on every corner.
So what's next for you? Like, what projects you got next? Like,
so I think that we're trying to scale credit repair to a point where I think to
like an exit.
No. We'll keep running. I mean, it's a big it's a good business. The cash flows really well. There's no reason to exit it. Yeah. I think it's fine. I build businesses that cash flow. I'm not looking for. I'm not trying to raise money or any of that stuff. Most of the stuff that we've done is just cash flows. Not looking for that, but just to grow it. And then I think I'm looking at, from a tech perspective, we're looking at some opportunities to enter in certain spaces. I haven't gotten the itch yet, but there's a event app called Partyful. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
So there's a lot that can be done better, and they're kind of the marquee in that space right now. So I think that could be something to kind of come after potentially. You know, there could be an opportunity there. So
Nice. Couple last questions for you.
Sure.
And this is a three-pronged question. What's a personal goal you have for yourself? A family goal? A business goal?
Personal goal, I think, is, you know, I think if I'm like 49, so I got to get married soon. So I think that's going to happen potentially.
Anybody on the radar right now?
Yeah, depending on, you know, how we're getting along, you know, that's part of the week. So, yeah. And then the family goal, yeah, I think that to try, like, have kids on a trial basis, to have like one is a trial, but you have 4, you know?
Yeah,
like,
I want like 4 more.
try it out, you know, have one. You can't return them, but like just try it out. One is cool, you know, like maybe. So that's the family goal. And then what was the other goal? The professional goal?
Yeah, business goal.
Business goal, I think, you know, to have essentially, as I was saying, like the next tech itch, you know, potentially for me. I think that, you know, have AI really integrated into an event platform potentially, you know, like Partyful, but that's not, I'm not sure if we're going after that yet. I haven't had the itch yet though. So I think a broader professional goal is figure out the itch, you know, figure out what area I want to.
I mean, can AI be implemented in the credit repair space and scale it that way, so you could just like add more clients?
Actually, you know, from that perspective, our back end operation is super scalable. We don't need AI for that. What we need the front end to scale. So customer acquisition side is the side where there's a huge opportunity, you know. On the back end we handle with scale, you know. That's easy and super fast the way we do it. Or the way we do it is very different than what everyone else does. So
last question. When you're in front of the pearly gates, what do you think God's going to tell you?
Well, I think it would be nice to try, you know. I don't know. So like you know, like, you know, I would say my culture says we reincarnate, right? So, but we believe in reincarnation. Like every life is a life. And so, like, we take another life, potentially, another form of life. Now, it could be coming back as an animal or an insect. I don't fucking know, you know? Like, whatever that is, that's what our culture says. So, I don't think there's any difference in value in life. I think one life is as valuable as the next. You know, there's no, like, oh, this life is better than this other life. So, there's just different experiences, right? So, I really don't know. But we got to do what we got to do, you know, to be... you know, to maximize this time here. So I don't know, I have 7 animals. I've been really great to animals, so hopefully it'll work out well for me. So
come back as a solid, like, you know, a doodle or something.
Yeah, like a fucking Yorkie. I mean, that'd be cool, you know. Yeah.
In some baller's house in West Hollywood.
You know, sometimes I look at them and I'm like, man, I wish my life was like this, you know. Maybe you know, be careful what you wish for, right? Come back as a multi-poo, you know? Yeah.
If people want to connect with you, how do they find you?
You can hit me on Instagram. It's @TedSkilla.
@TedSkilla. Perfect. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. The man, the myth, the legend, Ted Dhanik. Make sure you connect with him. God bless you guys.
Thank you.
It's cool, man.